Tatomkhulu Mandela, siyabulela kakhulu ngakho konke othe wasenzela khona.
Words fail to capture the true gravity of the loss of what we're going through.
Nam ndiyawuthi xa ndibalisela izizukulwane ezilandelayo ndibalise ndithi ndithetha ngomntu endakhe ndambona.
From the bottom of my heart, for me, I just want to thank him for the golden heart that he's had and for wearing that smile like it is a total platinum suit.
Ek dink ons almal kan opkyk na hom toe en net wees soos hy was.
I am blessed to have been around to experience him even as a statesman, as our president, as the first president of our democracy.
He's in the morning air, in the mountains, all around us in this country.
And he carried that throughout his life, and that's one of the lessons that I will always keep with me.
Ons gaan hom mis, maar ons gaan nog steeds sy legacy probeer.
You know, a lot of people come to South Africa because of Mandela, because he's made opportunities for most of us.
One man's impact can actually be good and can be great, and it can influence the world over.
He was the image of perfection, the image of greatness.
A true inspiration, you know, a father to us all.
I think sonke sifunde a lot, and I'm sure we can all agree ukuthi akekho omunye uzophinda afane naye.
Tati Madiba was 'n inspirasie vir ons almal. Hy het ons geleer van deursettingsvermoë en van vergifnis. En bo alles liefde vir jou naaste.
His long walk to freedom has set us all free.
We've lost a father. We've lost a great man.
And we own that Madiba memory.
Ons gaan hom mis.
We love you, Tata.
A lot of faces that you're very familiar with across all the different channels on SABC television, and really recounting what Madiba meant to them. And we're going to be reading out a lot of your messages of condolences and also messages of honoring Utata Madiba right throughout the entire show. And we're now joined here in the studio by a psychologist who's here to help us put things into perspective as well as an entire country.
Mteto Chemese is a clinical psychologist based in the Eastern Cape and working for the Nelson Mandela Academic Hospital, and has also worked with the Nelson Mandela Children's Fund itself. It's a difficult time for us. We've possibly lost our biggest heroes, abantu baseMzantsi Afrika. Sihandlisha njani lento?
Well, I think it's kunzima because I don't think we have ever had a loss of this magnitude. Utata Mandela is not Utata Mandela Wetu. Even though he may be from the Eastern Cape where he was born, he's no longer a South African. He's a big icon. But I think we're also struggling to express how we mourn him because he means different things to different people. And I think that's been part of the challenge for many people. How do we mourn him without choosing a particular, part that appeals to us? So it's very, very difficult for everybody.
And I think, Mteto, if one wants to find out as well some of the coping mechanisms, and you keep hearing people right throughout the entire weekend saying that it's been difficult, and others trying to find different ways of clinging on or letting go. What are some of the coping mechanisms you would suggest?
Well, I think Abantu must allow people to talk about it, number one, but at the same time, people must be tolerant and actually listen to each other's views, because as I said earlier on, Utata Mandela means different things to different people. And you find Abanye may want to see him as somebody who represents reconciliation, whereas others are going to say, okay, reconciliation without justice. Others are going to say, okay, well, he represents a particular struggle against apartheid. But for each generation here too, I think part of how we need to cope is to see Utata Mandela as an ordinary man from Ezlalini, who became part of a big collective movement that actually fought apartheid. We have to think about, okay, without feeling defeated, what can we do as South Africans? I think part of the difficulty of people not wanting to talk about, I saw on Twitter, people are saying, Dala Seta Utata Mandela. Part of the fatigue is that we've been talking mainly about the facts, and about they feel, okay, what can we do that will even be a quarter or even a fraction of what he has done? And I think the simple thing for me is to think about, in our consciences, what is it that we can do to build this country? Because Utata Mandela is part of the first ever democratic government of this country. But if you think about it, he was part of a legacy that was meant to say a better life for all. And we know that better life for all has not been achieved. So I think each and every one of us, regardless of our circumstances, we need to think about, what can I do in my own little space? And I think Abantu, once they realize, but you can do something, you don't have to be a millionaire to make a contribution. You can do something meaningful and something that is part of your conscience.
Tato, into xa abantu kakhulu is that abaninzi bethu zange sambona utata. Ayingumuntu osimaziyo, ayingotamkhulu, ayingomalume, ayingotanci. So sizila njani ngomntu esingazange sadibana naye, zange sambona kodwa usiphethe kwinhliziyo zethu.
Well, I think the good thing for me, Ngotata Mandela, is that uba is center of whatever it is that we are feeling. We can all project if feelings zethu kuye. I mean, as I say, abanye abantu abafuna uthethwe ngayo. Abanye abantu abadala. I mean, I saw on Twitter some very, very bad things. I mean, udala utata egula, ubona abantu besithi uswelekile. Fanisa ba, culturally iyalumeza lento, bengamelanga biyenziwa. Even the actual announcement yakhe zange announce appropriately. Abantu bengakwazulina, but I think for me, part of what we need to understand, funeka siyazi bana zange sabanayo ingxaki enjena ekumila okunjena ne-extend yayo. So part of what we need to do, we need to allow abantu, and abanye abantu, they don't even want to talk about Tata Mandela. That's okay. And abanye abantu are crying. I mean, I saw an insight of a young boy crying. You know, you see people from foreign countries, they come here, they feel part of it. So Tata Mandela, we have to accept into kokubana noba ufuna umbamba uthi ngwasequnu, noba ufuna umbamba uthi ngwase-Eastern Cape, ufuna umbamba ngwase-South Africa. But into ebuhlungu ke unathi endiyiqapheleyo into kokubana enye yezinto esizawuyenza bobungozi endiyoyikayo mna into kokubana uTata Mandela masingapunctuate what is selfish for us. You find the political parties zimsebenzisa ngohlobo olungekho right, olungekho responsible. We all have to be responsible at this time because this is very, very difficult. And into ebuhlungu uTata Mandela, the presidency yake was meant to calm things down, was meant to help us reconcile, but at the same time with the view that those are improved, and we know there's a lot of work that still needs to be done. So I think part of the responsibility that is important is for especially political parties, especially with the elections next year.
Let's be responsible.
Let's be responsible ngotata Mandela.
And ngizwile ukhuluma ukuthi i-announcement yakhona was not done properly, and obviously as a lesson moving forward, how would such things be handled so that it is seen to be done in a proper way?
Well, Robert, one of the things we must commend to government, we do government we do struggle to communicate ukugula katata. Ba uyakhumbula kwakunzima ukufanisa ba awuyazi bakuzocommunicate abani. And I think everybody was never prepared for this. Number two, what we have seen also is that after then the president started announcing, there was clear direction, there was clear communication, and I was quite impressed. I think a lesson for him is that we must deal with immortality too, Robert. Asizos magade, you know, I just drove 10 hours just to come here after I was invited, and I was thinking I could have died, you know, endleleni. And asikucinga ukufa ezinto enokwenzekana nini na sicimba phela sibe na-70. And I think we must be able to deal with immortality as part of who we are, because psychologically you get healed once unoba ubomi buyaphela physically. So ndizawufa ngenye imini, so I need to do whatever it is that I can do. And I think communication culturally is difficult though, Robert, because kwezinye cultures abantwana akuthethwa ngokufa. Kwezinye cultures kuthiwa hayi omama abangendawo kwinto yokufa. So we also need to understand ubana uTata Mandela ngowethu sonke, and masifunde into okubana silinde iprotocol, sihloniphe. Iyandihlupha into endiyibona eSouth Africa, Robert, ba ingathi asihloniphi izinto ezithethwa ku-Twitter. I can't even mention ezinye zazo, but I think now what I've done is to take a step back, study personally and say, well, it has never happened to this extent.
And the thing is, mthetho abantu babona ngofundiswa, so children learn what they live and they live what they learn. Ndicela ke ngoku sikhe sibuyele equnu sithethe ngesintu. Ngokwesintu xa kusweleke umuntu siyazila sonke. Kuzila ifamily nelali iyazila nayo. Abantu basequnu bahandlisha njani lento?
Well, I think the first thing in the village was that indlela le igqitha pha kwatata ivaliwe. And I think into ebimandi is that abantu baya cooperate generally elalini.
Ivalwe for imoto okanye for abantu bahambayo?
No, for imoto, like private cars zingagqithi pha because kwaba commotion. And I get worried ke ngoku kwi-subcultures esizidevelopayo because khona into kuthiwa zi-after tears eziyipati yokuphila kwethu kwangoku. So one of the things endiyoyikayo ezakwenzeka is that this is a moment of reflection for all of us, a very critical reflection where we say, what does it mean? I was saying to a colleague here, as I was upon here, I said, I'm 35 years this year. Last year, 27 years, Tata Mandela. As he contextualized what that means. For me, it means if I'm 35 this year, it means if in minus 27, I would be 8. At 8, I was doing standard 2, well, we're grade 4 now. Then it means everything I have done from standard 3 would not have happened. So Tata has sacrificed immensely. And Tata Mandela masingamveli simlocate ngo-99 uphuma kwakhe okanye ngo-94 by president kwakhe. Tata Mandela suffered. Abantwana baka Tata Mandela never had an opportunity to khula notata wabo. Tata Mandela uyayithetha naye loo nto leyo uba he has struggled. And I think we need to respect the suffering katata as a person, as a man, as a human being. While thina sigula akho umuntu ubhala ngathi ba wagula nansi diagnosis yakho kodwa besiyenza ngotata lonto le. So it's a moment where ke simhloniphe utata for the sacrifices azenzileyo as a human being. Ke siyazi manje basithetha in a very invasive way about his personal life. Abanye bazaxela ba he's a sellout, whatever. What have we done, Tina? What sacrifices have we made? So I think the little sacrifice unathi esinothi siyenze kukhe sizile sizinzise ingqondo zethu simhloniphe utata bathi abantu abazileyo babone ba nathi siyamrespect utata uMandela as a human being.
Bengisazosho phela ukuthi uthola ukuthi isikhathi esiningi ubona abazali babhizi bathatha ingane baye endlini yakho utata kade beyise esibhedlela futhi, which is a good sign, I would think, ngoba ingane izalwe yabo uMandela engasekho kwi-public eye yabo. So into engifuna ukuyazi ukuthi bangaqhubeka kanjani abazali ukuthi leyo memory kaMandela iqhubeke ingapheli nje emoyeni.
Well, I mean, a part of me is very happy, Robert, to see abazali bethatha abantwana because we need to talk about death and dying. And to an extent, yokubana, we must be responsible again. We must explain ebantwaneni bani utata uMandela kwakutheni azalwe apartheid, yayindoni apartheid. And we must be honest ebantwaneni bethu. Number one. Number two, xa setha ngokusweleka kwetata uMandela, it's also about our own mortality. It may actually help parents to talk about nathi asizozimakade. And I wonder how many parents actually talk to their kids or to their nephews or to their nieces, but actually I may die and this is what happens. So I think for me, it's an opportunity, Robert, for conversations, especially in Abandwana, where we can talk about death and dying. And I think lento basingathethi ngokufa yenye izinto ezisibambezelayo to actually live fully. So for me, the opportunity is good. That's taking Abandwana, ngotata uMandela ngokusweleka kwakhe, but funeka silumke singamkhi esiqweni utata uMandela.
Singamkhi esiqweni simhloniphe. Siyabulela ngobukho bakho Mthetho, siyathemba ukuthi uzawubuhleli nathi le veki yonke side simncwabe utata ayohlala nezinyanya zakhe ngoba bese sinyanya sethu esiphilayo apha kulomhlaba. Siyanifundisa, siyayazi ukuthi asizazi zonke izinto, ilento selapha namhlanje sisabe selapha iveki yonke. Sicela ke ngokusimbonisa utata indlela angumzekelo kuthi indlela esiziqhenya ngayo ngaye. Sinanko ke utata and all the freedom days that we have enjoyed with him, because of him and about him. Tamako.
Each and every one of you is precious to us. You are our people, our pride and joy, our future. We love you all.
His head and listen to the roar. We have the pleasure of lifting the cup ourselves, but
I will always remember this day. You have made me very happy, and you have made me feel young like you. I sang you the last time a song. You want to sing it again? Yes. Oh. What is the subject you like best? Science. Science? Oh, very good. Mathematics? Huh? You take mathematics? Yeah. Oh, very good. If you pass your mathematics, you'll be famous. They will want you all over the world because there are not many good mathematics teachers. You must work hard, eh?
Well, lots of messages are coming through, and I thank everyone, every South African that's watching the show right now for giving your message of support to the family, but also just reflecting on what Tutate Madiba meant to you personally. And a couple of the tweets that came through from the time that we've been on, we pick up on one here from Bill Gates saying, every time Melinda and I met Nelson Mandela, we left more inspired than ever. His grace and courage changed the world. This is indeed a very, very sad day. Lady Gaga also tweeted saying it's such a sad day, yet a beautiful moment that Nelson Mandela has passed, a time to celebrate him and remember his contributions to humankind. The Rock saying that Nelson Mandela was in South Africa in the 90s, post-apartheid, and very grateful awe of his impact on the world. Rest in love, brother. And also Usain Bolt just here thinking that Mr. Mandela in prison for 27 years is how long I've been alive. Words are inadequate to describe this man. R.I.P. Mandela. And also J. Cole saying that Mandela, what a life, what a man, rest in peace. The Dalai Lama as well, His Holiness, the Dalai Lama expresses condolences at the passing away of Nelson Mandela. And obviously lots of pictures coming through reflective of some of the major stars that got to meet him. Now, Kirk Franklin, a person that's here, a well-known musician, gospel artist. He's in South Africa at the moment, saying that today I stood outside Mandela's home, danced with the crowd, hugged people that I didn't even know, and embraced humility. What a beautiful, sad day. The President of the United States of America, Barack Obama, who will be in South Africa, which has been confirmed on Tuesday for the memorial service. President Obama remembers Nelson Mandela, a man who took history in his own hands and bent the arc of moral universe towards justice, end quote. Well, those are some of the tweets that have come through from international. And we're also going to be coming back home as well. Feel free, as we've given you all the details as far as the Twitter, Facebook, YouTube is concerned. It's a sad day as we reflect back. It'll also bring you some guests, people that have interacted with Tutate Nelson Mandela here. So from now, moving forward, it's all about you and your thoughts. We'll be back, though, after the break.